process. God rising, God afternoon, God evening, wherever this video may find you. Welcome to Awakening Cosmic Souls podcast. I'm Angel.
And I'm Shaman Ra, and we're here to give you some enlightenment about your spiritual journey and how to take the necessary steps to get the necessary results to experience bliss in your life.
Yeah, so
last time we talked about the journey, and it was an interesting thing. So let's break down some steps. You know, if you were just getting started, what are some of the main things, or what are some of the things you would ask someone about getting started on their spiritual journey? Like, what should they do? What's the first thing?
So what I would say everybody would want to know, like, what are the next steps that need to be taken to get started on the journey?
Yeah, definitely. So let me think about the next steps. So the next steps is pretty simple. It's number one, once you've decided to embark on the spiritual journey, the next step is actually finding community, and in that community, building relationships within that community, and from there, becoming self-aware. Awareness of yourself. So 3 things we need to do. We need to, number 1, find community. Number 2, we need to build relationships within that community. And number 3, we need to be very aware of ourselves and use the relationships to make us aware of ourselves.
Okay. So when you say make us aware of ourselves, and so that is like kind of like evaluating yourself?
Very much so. Very much so.
So how can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, sure can. So when we're talking about self-awareness, we're talking about understanding our ins and outs, like who we really are. And most of us don't know who we are. We've literally been going through life in a program that basically told us who we were, or we're doing things in a programmatic manner that are actually creating a reality that we don't want. So when I say that, we don't know ourselves because we don't even know the realities we're creating. Sometimes we don't even know the subconscious mind's patterns that are creating realities. I talked to you about things that I've done in my past where my subconscious mind literally just starts to kick in and take over and sabotage myself. So we need to be aware of ourselves to find that place of sabotage, self-sabotage. And the thing about the self-sabotage is this: we can never find it because it's a built-in subconscious program. That's why we need relationships. When we have personal relationships, friendships, business ships, partnerships, whatever kind of ships we have, family relationships and community relationships, those relationships are there for people that you can build trust with. They can begin to tell you when you're stepping out of alignment. But it's also, they don't even need to tell you, because what will happen is in a community, you will begin to start to see the actual actions that you're actually projecting through the actions of others. So we have to become very aware of what's happening around us. And that's where awareness comes in. Awareness is not just about ourselves, it's about our environment. So we want to build a community where we can feel safe. And in that community, we can be ourselves. And then we can also see how we're not seeing our true selves through the actions of other people. And that's the beautiful thing about this.
Okay. I get what you're saying. However, whose responsibility, or where does the accountability fall in if now that I see a pattern or behavior that just mirrored me and made me aware of that I do that, but and something that stood out made it uncomfortable when I seen that same action, and it was like, wow, I do that too.
Right.
So is it my duty now to open up my mouth and tell that person that I just seen something,
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Actually, if you're in a community and if you're in a relationship, that's why I say you got to find a community first. And when you find the community, you're finding a community that vibes with you, a community that is like-minded, that wants to grow, that wants to understand more about themselves. And they're open and willing and receptive to seeing their self-projections from other people. So yes, at that point in a community, we are required, because we're kind of taking on that responsibility to speak out and say, hey, this is what's happening. I noticed this. And sometimes it's going to be well received, and sometimes it's not going to be so well received. It all depends on how personal or how close that projection is to somebody's emotional wounds.
Because I have cut some people off. Ooh.
Why you cut people off?
The old version of me, I was cutting them off because that was
They were showing you who you were?
What?
Oh.
Listen.
Oh my
Ooh.
goodness. See, and that's what.
Ah.
But that's the version. That's the first thing we have to go through.
Mhm.
That's setting those boundaries, and sometimes we just cut people out. And when we cut those people out, what happens is we keep we keep getting those same people back into our relationship. Different name, different face, but the same projection comes out. That's when we got to stop and say, all fingers are pointing at me. And that's when we got to begin to take that accountability, that self accountability. And that's where the awareness comes in. But the awareness can come from a community, a solid community, and it comes in relationships. And that's a whole nother thing. If you're in a relationship, if you just sit back and look at a person's relationship, you'll begin to see the reflection of the person in you. And the certain things that might irritate you the most are the certain things you're ignoring within yourself.
That part. Ooh,
so
that part.
So it's like, what am I doing here? And
Ooh-wee.
the old version of us that might not have been as mature will definitely cut someone off. And we'll basically just walk away from a situation because we think it's them. We're pointing the finger. We're pointing the finger. That's not taking accountability.
So it seems as though relationships help heal the soul.
Oh, relationships are the healing of the soul. You cannot heal a relationship. You cannot heal the soul without a relationship.
Ooh.
Because you can never see truly who you are. Because that person, the closer they are to you, the more they're going to reflect. Now, this one right here reflects some stuff for me all the time. But it's good stuff. But you got to be mature. You got to be ready for this journey in order to receive the reflection. And that's where we really have to dig deep. And that's where the community happens, because you're going to want to act out when you see that reflection. But then all of a sudden the community is like, hey, look, it's happening for you, not to you. It's happening for your benefit. And when we can begin to open our minds to see, and that's another step, we'll talk about that in another episode, about opening our minds to begin to see with the perspective of it's happening for me, not to me. But that's a later podcast. Maybe we'll get into that next week.
Okay, so what does that tell you about the soul if, when I am aware of that now, but I choose to not change anything about it, and as time go on, some things remain the same.
And guess what happens? All those emotional wounds, everything that stays the same, everything that hurts you, that's a wound. That creates a wound. That wound creates a negative energy that's in your body and it's going to store in your body. And eventually your body is going to begin to break down. So the reason people used to live 200, 300, 400 years is because they would use the projections of other people to understand how they were, and they would actually act in a more divine manner.
Okay.
So that's what we got to do. That's our goal, is try to be the divine. We can go deep into the Kabbalistic magic and getting into how that actually works and how the spoken word works, but that's way down the line.
Wow.
Way down the line. That's becoming your authentic self. That's every lifetime, every incarnation. You're literally, as a soul, trying to find out more about who you are, because you have to remember, you are the reflection of the Most High, and the Most High is a reflection of you. So the Most High created you to actually have a physical experience, to understand what is created in its mind.
Come on now.
We talked about that.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that's a deep one.
Okay.
That's deep. But all this is awareness.
Yeah.
So we have to become aware, but we got to find a community first. And we do have a community, a beautiful community, Oracle's Touch. And now we have also the Cosmic Souls Foundation that is going to be actually putting on monthly events so that we can invite community in, so we can begin to teach these things.
Absolutely. This is so important to the soul.
Soul. I love when you say that.
Yeah.
Soul. She always says that. It's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. And I just want to just express extreme gratitude for being able to speak about these things.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because oftentimes when you are aware, you having to say that that was you.
Oh yeah, that admission.
Ooh.
That admission is.
And then when you hear yourself say that,
you're like, you kind of want to cringe a little bit.
Can I hide under this table?
Exactly. Like, no, that wasn't me. I did that.
Do you hear me?
Oh yeah.
But the feeling of the joy that it brings once you have exited out of that pattern.
Yeah. Once you admit it, once you accept it, and you see how it's you, you can begin to heal. And that's the whole process. That is the spiritual journey. You know, we use the physical body. We nurture the physical body with food. We nurture the emotional body with relationships. And we nurture the spiritual body with oxygen, with breath. So learning and understanding these things will help us. And again, community, finding someone that can work with you and teach you how to become the best version of yourself. Community does not mean that you're going to have a congregation of people following one person. This is a community of everyone reflecting upon each other, finding who they really are so they can begin to express that. And the thing is about self-mastery, the only way to do that is you have to, number one, become aware of yourself. Then you have to begin to accept yourself. Then you have to love that.
Yeah.
And you have to express that. So once you go through those steps, you can begin that process of spirituality, you know, because that's what it is. It's learning the soul. It's learning what we're here for. It's learning how to be impactful for ourselves and how everything around us is a mirror of us. And one thing you hear me say a million times, what's on the inside is on the outside. And also with that, what on the outside is on the inside. What is above is below. What is below is above. So what is above is below, and what is below is above. So we have to always remember that what's inside is outside, what's outside is inside. So we have to learn our reflections. And if we use community or a relationship, we can begin to see things about ourselves. And if two souls are on the same pattern or on the same trajectory or have the same intention to heal themselves, to grow as a soul, they will continue to do these things, these work together, and they will get stronger and stronger and stronger. And they will grow exponentially. And as their vibration changes, the vibration of everyone around them begins to change even more. Because we are the infectious energies that infect everything else. We are the healers of our own line. So as we begin to heal our own bloodline, our own cells, we begin to heal our bloodline, not just backwards, but also forwards. Okay.
Is that where you hear the saying is like we healing like 3 generations behind us and like 7 in front of us?
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what it is. Yeah. We are healing just like that. It's one after another. And we're healing even collateral relationships, collateral families and DNA, ancestral.
Okay.
So collateral means not even just mother, father, or brother, sister. It's cousin, it's aunt, it's uncle. It's distant cousin, it's uncle, it's friends, it's soul family. So everyone begins to heal. We become very infectious when we raise our vibration. And we raise our vibration by beginning to become accountable for ourselves and learning ourselves and loving ourselves. The more we love ourselves, and the more we love others. And if we love our true self, we can love others.
Yes.
But we can't love others, and others can't even receive the love until they love themselves. Because so many people don't even understand what love looks like.
Yeah.
You know, it's not, you know, buying gifts and showering love and love bombing. It's actually self-evaluation. It's being accountable for your own actions and seeing your own actions in others.
Yeah.
And letting them show you what needs to be changed in you.
Yeah.
That's love. That's loving yourself. And it's taking that and learning that with excitement, with enthusiasm. And then when we do that, we begin to grow and we find more about ourselves. And guess what? Those wounds heal.
Yeah.
And then we don't have those same repeat experiences. Because as soon as a wound is healed, as soon as something is healed, once the lesson is learned, the blessing is attained. Okay?
Once the lesson is learned,
the blessing
is attained.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's deep. It's deep. It's deep. It's deep. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff.
Ooh, jeez.
Stuff.
Okay. The last one there.
What's the last one? So what we got? What we got?
When the lesson is learned, the blessing is attained. So, when do you know you learned that lesson?
When your life changes. When you no longer have those same experiences. When you stop having chaos run through your life. When you stop having those ill feelings. When you start feeling a certain kind of way about someone or something. When you begin to create the things that you really want, because the lesson creates space for the blessing to come in. That means when you create the space in your own Akash, which is your spirit, you create the space to bring in the manifestations or the creations that you desire. It could be something material. It could be something emotional. It could be something physical. It could be a healing of an ailment in your body. All of a sudden, when you let that that fear, that insecurity, that anger, that sadness, those lower vibrational, lower energies, those negative emotions. When you release those things and you get the learning, then what happens is you heal.
Okay.
Remember, the physical body is the receptor and holder of all the negative energy.
Yes.
And the negative energy that you hold on to creates discord or dis-ease.
Yes.
So the blessing is when the dis-ease disappears. Did that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that's when you know the blessing comes. It could be in a healing, a miracle healing. I've seen people that go through deep meditations and decide that they are ready to let go, and they have an actual physical experience during the meditation. And they wake up and all of a sudden the disease is gone. They go to the doctor, they get tested, and everything is gone. They're like, I don't know what just happened.
Wow.
But the thing is, you have to stay in that space. You can't just get the healing and the awareness and say, okay, I got the awareness, now I got the blessing, but now I'm gonna go back to my old self. That doesn't work. Okay, so then what you're gonna do is recreate that discord again in your life.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's got to be, it's a constant thing. This is a journey. It's going to go on forever. You know, and I'm going to say something that some people might be ready to hear and some people might not be ready to hear, but this never ends. But the real trippy part is it never began. It just was.
Ooh,
We didn't have a starting point.
What?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. It never ends, but it never began.
It never ends, but it never began.
Never began. So we are just, we were created as the creator.
Yes.
You know, think about it. If the creator creates itself, it wants to understand what it's actually feeling. So in order to actually feel it, it creates humans. That's why humans have power over the earth, because humans are the extension of the Most High. The humans are giving the Most High the experience with the five senses. So that makes us gods. Think about it. That's how powerful we are. And if we can tap into that, but the only way to tap into that is through self-awareness and beginning to break down these processes, these old programs, these paradigms that are creating realities that keep us stuck in loops.
Okay. Okay.
That's what it is.
Wow. That's deep. Wow.
Yeah, it's getting deep.
Man.
It's getting deep in here.
I can't even ask no more questions after that. You just dropped down on there. We need 15 minutes to process that.
For sure, 15 minutes exactly. Just
At
to
least
process
15
that.
to just say, hold on.
That was a deep one when it was given to me by Spirit that it never began. I mean, I always hear it never ends, but it never began. You know, and that came to me through a Spirit. And for those of you all that don't know what shamanism is or what a shaman is, a shaman is a person who actually receives teaching and lessons from the spiritual realm. And so that's what happened to me. I was deep in a shamanic journey, and the Spirit came to me and explained to me and showed me how creation came about and showed us where it is. And like, we can never really get back to the beginning of it. We just have to see what we're doing and make changes to become better. And that's what we have to do in life. It's not about always going back to the root of the cause. It's understanding this is a problem. And what do we need to do to fix it? It's good to know that sometimes, because we're human beings and we have that ego. That ego likes to have identifications.
Right.
And as long as the ego has identifications, the ego can keep you in a box because it's about IDs, identification. Identification puts you in what? Put you into a specific place, a space. The soul doesn't have identification. The soul is everything. The soul is everyone. It has a unique signature, but that signature is part of everything. But the ego is individual.
Okay, I know you just brushed upon about not trying to get to the origin and trying to find that, but what if we're being aware of it, and is it like we're trying to nip it in the bud so it doesn't like bleed on into the future or something like that?
Yeah, well, sometimes we got to figure out what's serving us and what's not serving us. And then we have to decide, do we want to stay in that energy of what's not serving us? And sometimes we can't ever get back to the original origin of the problem because it might have come from something that's in the DNA that came from 6 ancestor lines ago. Okay,
so what do you do with that bad habit, and how do you shift into a better one, better than that vibration?
Oh, that's a good question. So all you do is when you go into these bad habits, or when you're in a bad habit that was ancestrally given to you, you recognize a habit. That's all you have to do, is recognize a habit and recognize what it's creating for you. And then you start to look at, what do you want to create? So if you find a habit that's causing discord in your life, and you can't put your finger, I don't know where this came from, then it's up to you at that point to say, I don't want this habit anymore, because this habit is creating this discord in my life, and this discord is creating these ramifications or chaoses that continuously keep happening.
Okay.
That's the key. When you see that it's creating something that's not comfortable to you, then it's up to you to make the decision to say, I'm a God and I'm going to change my thought processes. This is something beyond me. This is something that's inside of my DNA. This is something that I have no control over. But I do understand what's happening, and I can see what to do to change it. So you don't get the why all the time. Now you will, but you don't get it all the time.
Right.
And you can't always look for the why as the reason, because that's the ego now trapping you back in another cycle.
Because now you're going to spend so much time trying to catch that why.
Right. You just have to understand what it's doing. Do you want to keep that what it's doing happening? That's the question. And that's where the healing begins. That's the maturity of the soul, the evolution of the soul.
Okay.
That's the awakening of the cosmic being.
Okay. Wow.
That's the awakening of the cosmic soul. When you decide that, hey, I don't need to know the why, because now you just separated from ego.
Yeah.
And now you're going into the spirit,
Okay.
into the soul.
Okay. Jeez. Wow. Okay.
You can say you don't have to. Now, it's nice to know it sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. It's nice to know it, and you will get a lot of whys, especially when it's for you. And there's certain tests you can actually do. You can test, and you'll be surprised. You might have 500 things on this list. You might have 300 of them. Might be 5 that actually came from you this lifetime.
Dang.
And so now you're gonna be chasing 295 problems. Now that's what I'm saying. Why? Why do you want that? Why? Because that's chasing 295 issues that aren't even yours, that you won't even get to the bottom of.
Oh my goodness.
But those 5 you can get to the bottom of. You can let that be your catalyst to change everything else. Because when you start seeing your life change, you start seeing the healing in your body, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. What happens is you begin to advance and you begin to expand. And then you can say, you know what? Do I need to hold on to these 295 other things that don't have nothing to do with me? Do I need to hold on to these things? Because I just changed 5 things and my life exponentially got better. So now if these things got nothing to do with me, maybe it's my job. Maybe the sixth thing is I'm supposed to heal that for the generations backwards and the generations to come. It's up to us to make the change.
Okay, so if I am vibrating at that vibration with that type of energy, with those type of patterns, then wouldn't it be suffice to say that I'm going to attract somebody that is at that same vibration and we are matching each other, because we need to let go.
100%. You're going to attract that same vibration. That's why it's so important to understand community. That's why I say we need to have this whole discussion on relationships. That's what we need to talk about, because that very relationship is going to show you, and you're going to attract like vibrations. People are like, I'm not like that. Well, yeah, it's something in you that's attracting that, and it could be something that you're hiding from, because it's not always a tick for tack. It's not, okay, this person's a narcissist.
Yeah.
Well, if this person's a narcissist, maybe you're addicted to being a victim.
Ooh.
And it's a tough one now. Don't beat me down for that one. But that's the truth.
Oh, just punched in the stomach.
It's like, you have to decide the reasoning that you're in relationships. You have to decide if you want to stay in that energy. That's the thing. We have to decide. So if we choose someone, we're choosing them because they're at equal vibration. It's like in my own vibration, I took a break from dating for 2 years. And just really focused on myself to heal. And I started finding there's a lot of stuff I got to heal within me, because there was a lot of judgment that I was holding. And I knew I wasn't supposed to be holding judgment, but there was a lot of judgment. But then I got to a point where I couldn't see anymore, because I was going so deep within myself that I needed a reflection. And that's when the relationship came to me. Because at that point I needed to see more, and I need to grow, and I needed to understand how to actually love and to be loved. And to love myself. And once I began to do that, then life started changing. And then the perfect relationship came to me.
Mm.
It was beautiful.
That is wonderful. That's cosmic there.
Cosmic.
Mm-hmm.
Awakening cosmic souls.
Mm-hmm. Awakening cosmic souls. Wow. This was a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful
Yes, wonderful.
interview
wonderful.
here.
Definitely.
I want it to reach all of the souls who listen to this and take a moment to just reflect on it.
Yes.
And now you are aware if you weren't.
Yeah. Now you know.
And even if you don't have that community that you could have that discussion with, we having it now.
Exactly.
So you can send
Reach
us
out.
a message, and say, hey.
At Stretch with Angel.
Yep, at Stretch with Angel and at Oracle's Touch. And let us know. Yeah, because we all in this together.
Definitely.
You don't need to, you may have a lot of people that are stuck in that lower vibration, so they can't see anything outside of that. And now you the one in the pack. And now you can go back with that different vibration and they can see that, okay, oh, I need a healing there. And so it's just infectious.
Yes, it is. It's a beautiful thing.
Yes, it is. So
the healing spreads all directions.
So just a reminder to be mindful of what we're watching. We spend a lot of time with entertaining ourselves on social media, but let some of that entertainment be for our soul.
Exactly. If it is to be, it's up to me to create with the we. Simple thing to remember. If it is to be, it's up to me to create with the we. And we are community.
And we are community.
We are all souls.
Yes. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.
Yeah. Like, follow, share.
Please.
And see us back at the next episode. Peace and love and blessings.
Peace and blessings.
I allow my body to guide me. I trust the process. I allow my body